How does a nation's heart beat? At Pedro Press, we're following the irresistible pulse of Chilean culture, from its poetic streets to late-night table rituals, and everything unscripted in between. Join us as love for Chile spills over, revealing hidden traditions, wild flavors, and surprising passions that only those who truly know it can understand. As the sun dips behind the jagged peaks of the Andes, a child's laughter echoes across the dusty streets of Santiago. It is here that the roots of Pedro Pascal's story first took hold, a story marked by exile, longing, and an unbreakable bond to a homeland left behind. Few realize that Pedro was born into a world turned upside down. His parents, politically exiled during Chile's brutal dictatorship, fled in the dead of night, carrying hopes for their newborn across continents. In those harrowing moments, Chile was not just a memory, it became a beacon, a dream preserved in whispers and lullabies. Consider this. Before he became Hollywood's favorite anti-hero, Pedro Pascal learned to speak by listening to his mother's stories in Spanish, tales woven with snippets of Chilean folklore that painted his imagination in vibrant hues. The cadence of her voice became his first link to cultural identity. In New York City, far from the land of poets and revolutionaries, Pedro found himself straddling two worlds. There were days he clung desperately to his Chilean accent, refusing to let go even as playground bullies mocked his mispronounced English. But culture is more than language. Young Pedro devoured empanadas and pastel de choclo at every family gathering, each bite a secret rebellion against assimilation. His mother's kitchen transformed into a culinary embassy where the aromas of ají peppers and cilantro transported them all home. At 13, Pedro returned to Chile for the first time since infancy, a journey that electrified his senses. The chaotic energy of Santiago's streets, the plaintive notes of a cueca drifting through open windows, these became the sounds and sights that fueled an insatiable longing for belonging. It was on that trip he encountered Pablo Neruda's poetry carved into stone along Isla Negra's wind-lashed coastlines. For Pedro, Neruda's words offered solace and pride, a lyrical roadmap that would guide his own creative journey. During his formative years at NYU's Tisch School of the Arts, Pedro didn't just study Stanislavski. He staged clandestine readings of Chilean playwrights like Ariel Dorfman. Through these performances, he shared the agony and resilience of his people with audiences who had never heard stories like his before. Unexpectedly, his first brush with fame came not on camera, but as an interpreter for Chilean filmmakers visiting Sundance Film Festival. There, Pedro forged lifelong connections with artists determined to amplify Latin American voices in global cinema. Astonishingly, before every major audition, even for The Mandalorian, Pedro would listen to Violeta Parra's haunting folk songs backstage. He believed her melodies carried ancestral wisdom, they were talismans against self-doubt. In private moments away from paparazzi flashbulbs, Pedro handwrites letters in Spanish to his extended family scattered throughout South America. Each letter is carefully sealed with red wax embossed by an antique stamp, a ritual passed down generations. Pedro once revealed on an obscure podcast that he dreams in Spanish when he misses home most intensely, vibrant fever dreams filled with Mapuche legends and shadowy processions during La Fiesta de la Tirana. There is a little-known charity in Santiago, the Fundación Amanda, that bears silent testament to Pedro's gratitude, funding scholarships for young actors from disadvantaged neighborhoods. It quietly echoes his belief in giving back without fanfare or recognition. In Los Angeles, behind thick velvet curtains, Pedro hosts intimate gatherings where rising Latino creatives recite poetry over pisco sours and marraqueta bread. These evenings are both sanctuary and stage, a crucible for redefining what it means to be Chilean far from home. The tattoo hidden on his right forearm, a hummingbird mid-flight, is inspired by Chilean myth, a symbol of messengers between worlds. For Pedro, it represents hope unfettered by borders or distance. If you enjoyed these Pedro Pascal facts, make sure to like and subscribe for more from Pedro Press.